All right, welcome back. You're listening to Millennial Talk 2.0 on WCEG Talk Radio. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio. And if you want to join our conversation with Miss Dorothy, call 678-619-1402. When we left, we were talking about politics and the state of the current 2020 election, all the candidates and things like that. How likely do you think it is that Trump will get reelected for a second term at this point? Because there are a lot of Democratic candidates, and I think it's hard for a lot of people to focus, even though it's very early on. Because, you know, when Obama was running in his first term, at this point, people were saying it was unlikely that he was going to win. So
at this point, there are a lot of candidates. They're going to have to fall by the wayside. Mm-hmm. And the Democratic Party at their conventions, they're going to have to weave in all of the causes and product that these other candidates need. They have to combine all of that. Mm-hmm. And the reason I call them products, because they are products. Health insurance, health, the medication, education, the penal system, housing, cities. Because I've been in Atlanta long enough to see from Maine until now. Atlanta is an international city. And it started when I moved here. And that's why I wanted to move here. Mm-hmm. Because you can't learn anything in a one-horse town with one blinking light.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I have a blinking light in the little town that I live in. That's why I've kept my distance. Because once you get identified, this town, this city, an international city, I don't even recognize it anymore. Because, see, they changed Hunter Street to Martin Luther King and Vine City. And then now they have the football stadium, Mercedes, over there. Mm-hmm. The Olympics came. I think growth is important, but our candidates, most of them are saying some of the same things.
All of them are saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, and I say most because all of them aren't. All of them don't have what the other one has and what they want to see. I have no problem with a man being married to another man. Mm-hmm. It's hard being married to a man if you're a woman. But when it's good, it's good. Maybe it's good for me. I don't care about that. Mm-hmm. Stay out of folks' bedrooms.
Right,
okay? Right. That's not your problem.
Right.
Stay from around a woman's body. Mm-hmm. Why you can't deal with the male body? Mm-hmm. But it's always a woman's body. A governor signed the bill here with, what is that? Some heartbeat bill?
Yeah.
Alabama's doing one worse.
What are they doing?
Worse. I don't know what it is. I can't recall. I should have written a note about it.
Okay.
But see, we have southern governors. These folk are Republican. These people would put you back in slavery if they could. Mm. People need to understand that.
Yeah.
They need to understand. When you have a president of the United States with the Charlotte and saying both sides, there wasn't no both sides. These people were in church. I was in church too when I nearly got killed in a church in Montgomery, in Reverend Abernathy's church. Ku Klux Klan had put bombs all around the church. My dad and I, we were there together. That's what they would do. That's white nationalism. You can't call it nothing else but white nationalism. A lot of our law enforcement officers are that way. Mm-hmm. And I include some of the people of color in there. You know, people don't want to use people of color. I don't care. We are. Mm-hmm. Be proud to be the color you are. White folks be proud. But they weren't all the same in Charlotte. A woman was killed because of hate. People were killed the other day because of hate, some kind of hate. I don't care if you homosexual, you're male, female, but if your agenda is what the American people need, because even now with the tariffs going on, I was listening, coming on the radio, hey, they can't sell. The farmers upset, but they voted for Trump. they always vote against their own best need, what's good for them. But they always say that the Democrats aren't religious. Some of them are. So what's being look the Christian right. I know I'm not going to win any points with anybody when I say this, but when the leader of the church goes to visit Russia, who's he going to see? They talk about ISIS. All of it's wrong. Killing is just wrong, period.
Right.
It's just death. It's destructive. And Trump is destructive. He wraps himself in the American flag. That's another lie. He didn't want to go to the Vietnam War because he had something wrong with his feet. That's what he said. Wasn't nothing wrong with the man's feet.
Yeah, too much golf.
My friends went to Vietnam and served. Nobody in his family served because they came from Germany and they changed their name. This next election is, we always say, the election of all, but this one really is.
It's exciting. I've been very entertained watching it watching up to the point.
Right.
I think this is the very first one that I think I've been paying so much close attention to so early on, like a year in advance.
Right, but we talked about it early on. Mike Bloomberg would have been a very good candidate. He's behind the scene, but I kept seeing more and more and more. I like seeing that because they're going to narrow it down. They're going to narrow that thing down because we have to. And as far as the millenniums out here, and all of them not just having a good time, but there's some out here, like you said, what's gonna, your vote doesn't count. Yes, it does. It can't count if you stay away from the poll. And even if you have a absentee ballot and you know you're going to be out of town or out of another city or out of the country, get yourself an absentee ballot. If you're going to the hospital, get you an absentee ballot because you plan your trips months ahead. And you know you're going to have a medical emergency. I mean, not an emergency, but a medical problem may cause you to be in the hospital. Get you an absentee ballot.
Yeah.
You don't even have to go.
I've had to do that one year.
You see?
Yeah, I was registered in Savannah because I was in college in Savannah for like a year, and I had registered to vote there. Came back home, wanted to vote. They told me I was in the wrong place, and I wasn't going to drive 4 hours. So
absentee.
I get an absentee.
That's why they'd have that.
Yeah.
So it's no excuse. There's no. I can't think of an excuse because the fire and fury that you see in me now, that's not going to change. But I don't always express myself to people that I know. Some say they can't vote because of their religion. And if you're a millennium and you're in that particular religion, the only thing I have to say to you, you're on our backs. We've carried you. You get new cars, new Nikes on my back.
Yeah.
You're able to drive a very expensive Porsche because of people on my back. I was on somebody's back. They carried me. I listened to the stories my mother told me, how the Portuguese would do slaves, cut off their hands. We have Portuguese in our family. So we kind of mixed with a lot of stuff in my family. We had the DNA, Israel, Africans, and all that. But you look at me, I'm African American, but I got all English in me. But you on my back, and I'm tired of you not voting, driving around here in your Porsche.
Yeah. And also, while we're on the voting conversation, I've got a note that says you can also ask for a provisional ballot when when there are issues on election day.
Thank you. That's really good because you can't think of everything, and I think we're doing a phenomenal job this morning. It's a start because I appreciate the millenniums because I see them. I see what they're doing. Some of them are making progress. They're doing great things. More than that, the millennial would probably be in space. Think about me when you go in space.
Actually, I have a friend who's he's studying neurospace science. And
see?
I'm like, okay, you got that.
It's out here.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, we need social workers, don't get me wrong, because people are going to always have issues. Mm-hmm. But go into some fields that I have never heard of. Mm-hmm. And even with our ocean, our atmosphere, our earth, we can't keep doing our earth like this with all this plastic.
Yep.
I've already ordered another metal straw. I don't know what to do with those plastic straws. It's damaging everything. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy the ocean, but I hate to see an animal that's supposed to be free with plastic around the neck.
Yeah.
Killing them.
I myself
choking them.
And I'm an animal lover. I read an article the other day that they found like cocaine and strapped on shrimp. The smugglers were using the shrimp to smuggle.
What kind of shrimp were these? The giant shrimp or the little shrimp?
They had to be the giant shrimp. Yeah.
I mean, run that by me again.
They were smuggling. They found cocaine.
Yeah.
Strapped to the
on
shrimp.
A shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's one that I know they would probably use dolphins or something, but a shrimp,
turtles as well.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you know why people are doing that? Because of money. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this right now to millennials, old folk. I don't care. I don't see anything wrong with people. And excuse me, maybe you want me to write this down so to see if I can say this.
We'll see. Let's see what's going on. Yeah.
Thank you. I know I can't curse, but I am for the legalization of marijuana.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about marijuana until I left college and moved to Detroit. I was going to be a singer. In fact, I was going to have a contract with Motown. You know that. I used to sing.
You told me that.
And I had some people over, and they had some aluminum foil. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what the aluminum foil was. Little country from Alabama. Even I found out about it. I was in college in psychology.
Right.
I turned on the fan. Guess what happened to that white powder? Went everywhere. Mm-hmm. One of the persons, oh, you country so and so. Well, I didn't know what that was. Now, I believe adults ought to be able to do what adults want to do within reason. Mm-hmm. The young people are going to know where it is anyway. I wouldn't know what to do, where to go, nothing, to buy nothing. But I think we have to think very wide with marijuana being legalized around the United States. Because I was listening to the news. This lady was at some airport, and she had one of these oils, and they locked her up, but they eventually turned her loose.
The CBD oil?
Yes, and because in states, like Georgia, so backwards. But then said, well, if you don't like Georgia, why don't you leave? No, I love Georgia. What are my options? Mm-hmm. Go out of space? I don't want to do that. And I'm darn sure not moving back to Alabama. It's worse than Georgia.
Yeah.
And Mississippi, I'm not doing that. This is my home, what I wanted to make my home. And since I've been here, I have made my home better. Mm-hmm. Being the first of this, being the first of that. But to me, we have to put people in place because no one should be going to jail for a little marijuana. They just shouldn't do that. And why can't you be in your house and enjoy yourself? You drink liquor is worse. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I have searched, believe me, because I used to do social research for University of Michigan and the University of Chicago. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of somebody killing folk with marijuana. I have with alcohol. Look on the news. Well, she's had a second DUI, the third, and she's still driving. Mm-hmm. Why is she not in prison? So as far as that is concerned, look at your candidates and see where the national candidates that would want to be president. There's so many health issues. I really like them all. Barney is just somebody I wouldn't even entertain. Everybody else, I would entertain. Mm-hmm. Not Barney. I don't trust Barney.
You're actually the first person I've heard say that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
People around me know I wouldn't trust even my friends on Facebook when that going on.
How do you feel about him labeling himself as a socialist?
I don't trust Barney. That's all I can say. Okay. He can label himself an apple. I still wouldn't vote for him.
All right.
I would not endorse him. If he became the Democratic nominee, the only way I would vote for Barney is if he became the Democratic nominee.
If he was just our only choice.
Yes. I wouldn't like it. I would pull it reluctantly.
Right.
Because I don't want to see Trump take this country in a complete totalitarian country. I would vote for Barney in that case.
Okay.
It'd be, but I'd vote.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to the criminal justice system, now a lot of they're allowing inmates to vote now. Do you think that could affect the 2020 election at all? Or how do you feel about it? Do you agree with that or do you not agree with it?
Now, there are certain felons that they need to keep in.
Well, yeah, definitely violent crimes. But there are a lot of people are in there for non-violent crimes.
Well, if they're in there and they've served their time, I believe they should. Because that came up when I ran for mayor of Montgomery. And that was so futuristic. That was 2000. And I was told that I shouldn't say that. But why not? It's the truth. People can change the way they used to behave. Give them an opportunity. Put them in halfway houses. Monitor them. See, that's part of this problem. Because when I worked for EOA back in the day, back in the 1970s, I had parolees that worked with me. I had one young lady. There was a store over in the West End called Zares, I believe. We went in. She didn't have an umbrella. I had an umbrella. We came out the store. She had an umbrella. You're on probation. You're in a halfway house. You stole this umbrella. You think you going back in there. You're going to return that umbrella.
Right.
Because I'm not going to jail for you. That's the kind of person I am. So I do believe that they would have a lot to offer. But maybe one party doesn't want that of the Judiciary Party. The Supreme Court is another problem. You see what happened. You see what happened. He knows because I was listening to a retired jurist the other day. He was saying that the Supreme Court has gone over here when they should be impartial. They shouldn't be taking sides here. But that's what they're doing. They're conservative. They've always been like that. They're not for the people. In fact, I would say they're not even for the law. It's gone all the way over here. Trump knows this. Now, I hope we don't have anybody else to retire before 2020.
What do you mean when you say retire?
Or get too sick that they have to leave the Supreme Court because he can appoint another one.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So there's a lot at stake. And I looked at that. I looked at Trump getting elected and would probably appoint Supreme Court justices. This man and his swamp people and his partners around the world, the dictator people, we got to put a stop to this. We have a president that wouldn't show his taxes. Why? And I'm looking at Wall Street and I'm reading everything and Deutsche Bank. Oh, I pull it up and I read. Trump burned everybody in terms of loans and keep you tied up in court. That's his thing. And Deutsche Bank, his son-in-law, all of that's bad news for citizens of the United States of America and also citizens of the world. Because at one point, Deutsche Bank was the only one that loaned him money, but that came through his daughter's husband. If anybody's interested really to see what Trump really is, read what they're putting out about Deutsche Bank.
Now, let's go back. Who exactly is Deutsche Bank?
It's a bank that out of the country that would loan money to people like Trump. Okay? A lot of divisions. He's burned a couple of the divisions, and he did find one through his son-in-law, friends with one of the bankers. and he got the loan. It's like your left hand doesn't know what your right hand is doing. That's how, because no American bank will give him a loan. Because they knew Trump.
Right.
Now, I know Trump, and my little voice, everybody ought to know Trump. Make America great again. America was always great. My daddy fought in World War II to make America great, because that was nothing but a lie. But a lot of people are buying it against their own needs. So I would like to see a youth in there, and maybe the 70-year-old in there, all except Barney.
Okay. I hear that. So briefly, before we go, I want to talk to you about the measles and this quote unquote outbreak. Because they say it came back. Now, do you have any memory of a measles outbreak back in your time? Some children had measles.
They had the whooping cough or chicken pox. But all of that was eradicated. And I'm not quite sure whether or not it's coming from people from other countries and bringing it in, and they haven't been vaccinated, because some countries aren't as up on that as we, because it was eradicated. I still have my son's baby chart, and I look back through it, through storms, moves, floods, accidents, death. I still have my son's medical baby records from 1970. I called him the other day. I said, when I have your medical record? Mom, you know I did. When you had your flu shots.
Right.
Then I called my brother, who's 57. We talked about, well, I had my flu shot. Ignorance will kill us. So the measles outbreak is showing us that there's some flaws somewhere. Children should not be allowed in school. But see, some children go to private schools. Like that, like those religious schools,
I went to
right?
one. Yeah,
like that. Some of those kids, they don't believe in that.
Yeah,
but it would kill us. Measles, I forgot to ask my doctor the other day, do I need one? But every time I get a shot in my arm, it hurts for a year. I don't care if it's a flu shot. I'm still aching.
The reason I asked is because I'm anti-vaccination.
Okay.
Because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about how inside the vaccination kills more people than it saves more people, and it's actually giving black boys autism.
Why just black boys?
That's what the studies say.
That's the study that they always say. Black folks do that. Black people. Let me tell you something. We're part of the population. Why must we be singled out? You're entitled to your opinion. But if you get the measles, it's going to be bad for an adult. I'm just here to tell you. Like what is that thing? The mumps. Chicken pox.
And that's the other thing. I've never had the chicken pox. I think when I was younger, my parents, I got some shot that prevented the chicken pox.
When you were an infant.
Right.
They did their deed.
Yeah.
And that's why, I hear you, that's the misconception. We just did a show last week with our medical team that comes in once a month. Our discussion was on immunizations and the CBC, the cannabis oil, the medical oil, and what the doctor did show proof that the immunizations do not cause autism. You have parents who refuse to vaccinate their children, and that's why we have this outbreak, because as Ms. Dorothy said earlier, because some are homeschooled, some are in private schools, and there are different regulations for public schools. And so you have to look at, there are different people coming into our country where their countries do not require the citizens and children to be immunized. When they come into the U.S., then that's where your problem is going to come in. So we did an entire show, about an hour. We did about an hour show talking about immunizations, and I'm afraid that the documentary that Kyle was watching was being misinformed, misinforming their audience, because the standards for immunizations, that's why we have all these different illnesses, and that's why he didn't receive the chicken pox or whatever was going on that you said you never, you didn't get the chickenpox or whatever it was.
Right.
Because your parents had you immunized.
Right.
That's true.
Look, I'm getting
Yes.
immunized.
All right.
Anyway, but that documentary was really very misleading.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch our YouTube, you will see Dr. So and Dr. Burse and Myrna Taylor Ransom, our host, as well as Nurse Pamela Davis. That discussion we just had it a couple of weeks ago. So you go back to YouTube for your good show. You will see and he will tell you exactly the misinformation that's being put out there.
Okay, cool.
So I wanted to.
Okay.
You know,
Thank you, caller, for calling in. Is what Mr. Oliver wanted me to say.
thank you. And you know what, Kyle?
You were calling. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you know, we all are entitled to what we want to hear.
Right.
But as a young person, you don't want to get the measles. You don't want to get that. And the thing is that's so incredible about it, who are you going to believe?
Yeah. I mean, that's my thing. I don't know.
Go to your doctor. Ask your doctor. Have a consultation.
Yeah.
Because you can go to another country, Kyle, on an airplane or ship, and you might have been exposed on that trip. And it could still be in you, and then you become a carrier. And then it spreads. It's not something you see right away. See, I had the chicken pox.
Right.
But I didn't have the measles, and I didn't have the mumps. But I had the chicken pox. And I got over it. My parents, my mother was a medical person, so friends, doctors, and all that. So, but you go back and listen. But they're gonna always say this is bad for the black folks. This is bad. Black folks bleed, put on their pants the same way. They hate, they love the same way other nationalities.
Yeah.
I'm just a little tired of people on black people. It's gonna be worse on black people if they do this. Just do your due diligence. And you may not get it.
Yeah.
But as I said, I had my son's baby card out, and I called him. Mama, I already know. How you know? You never seen this. You a baby back then. You don't know. So it's important that millennials listen to this because they're traveling all around the world. They've been already going away for spring break. Don't know how many were exposed to that.
Right.
And I'm not a medical person, but some people, I believe, aren't going to get everything because they haven't had that shot that they need. Because I volunteered when I was in high school or junior high for the polio vaccine. When you put it on that sugar, I organized the students in the high school so children couldn't get polio. You ever heard of that?
Never
It's
heard
a
of polio.
very debilitating. It's terrible. It's crippling. They used to be in one of these large tubes. I forget what you call it. Maybe one of the audience members can. See, we here, I want to be with you and talk to millennials because there are a lot of things that millennials are not getting. Perhaps their parents don't know, but their grandparents know.
Yeah.
And their great-grandparents know. I'm in the great-grandparent genre now. I know.
Yeah.
You don't want to get the measles. You don't want to get nothing. But, I certainly have enjoyed this conversation on a Saturday morning. Other than that, I'd be mowing my yard. The blueberries and blackberries I can't pick right now. But I have a wonderful garden, lettuce.
Yes.
And Swiss chard.
Yeah.
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Everything.
It's nice out there. You don't even have to go to the grocery store. You got your own.
No, I just go in my yard.
That's amazing.
Now, I tried to have chickens in the subdivision, but the rooster turned me off. Somebody reported me. They gave me a ticket. I had to get rid of my chickens. Hens don't need a rooster that lay eggs.
Right.
And if that rooster hadn't continued that behavior, I'd have my chickens now and eggs.
All right. I want to thank you for coming. How are you spending Mother's Day?
My brother is coming over. My son, May. You might know more about that than I do.
I know nothing, actually.
You know nothing.
I know nothing.
I don't know either. I'm not mowing the yard tomorrow.
As you should.
So what I'm going to do is relax and I want to get into candle making
Okay.
because one of the guilty pleasures that I have, besides it used to be chocolate, is a candle. It relaxes me. So I may get into, because I'm spending a lot of money with those scented candles when I can get me and make it myself. I want to try that.
All right.
So I'm going to be reading tomorrow, writing a little. Because one friend of mine, everybody calls me Dorothy Jean that knows me back in the day. You're getting old, and you are old, so you need to get the stories out that can help the millennials.
Yeah.
And even the older folk, because I have some friends they don't even have an iPhone.
Yeah. Well,
They
that's
still have
why-
what is that? The flip phone.
Yeah.
They
I
don't
know.
even know. They're afraid of social media.
Yeah.
And they've had the worst things about Yahoo and Facebook.
Yeah.
They have a flip phone. I have one too, but it's just not activated.
Right.
So I'm not one of those great grandmothers out here that's ready for a rocking chair. In fact, I don't even have a rocking chair. I want to continue learning. And if it's anything that I can say to inspire, because it inspires me, you have to turn it over. I'm still learning from people. Everybody I meet, I learn something from. And I thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for coming. I learned something every time I talk to you. Again, I say your stories, they give me chills, and I'm glad that you could come in and share with everybody. Okay. So this has been Millennial Talk 2.0 on WCEG Talk Radio. The next time I talk to you all, I guess we'll be in another place. So that's exciting. Y'all have a good weekend.